All right, thanks everybody for being here. Coach Joel Johnson, Coach, any opening thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, it's always disappointing when your season ends, but I think we can take a lot of positives away from not only this weekend but our entire year here. And it was tough. We ran into a buzzsaw, especially on Friday night. I thought Saturday we played a little bit better, but it was really enjoyable to be able to have our seniors have a great weekend the week before, and then drive across town and kind of start to establish a rivalry with the University of Minnesota. I thought we did that well, and it was fun.
We'll open it up to questions.
You've coached on the other side of that budding rivalry. Do the Gophers need another rival? Really? I mean, it seems like the target's on their back from everybody.
Yeah, it is. I have. I think it just goes when you have a program with sustained excellence. Everybody wants to beat you, and I've seen that from the beginning of the WCHA. For a while it was, excuse me, Minnesota Duluth, and then Minnesota, and then Wisconsin, and now you can argue it's Ohio State. And it just keeps kind of going back and forth. And there's no easy game in our league, and I think just the nature of us being so close to one another and trying to recruit against each other in the Twin Cities here can only add to that rivalry.
You want to expound on those positives?
Yeah, I thought, we got great goaltending again. Friday night we tried to outscore the opponent, which doesn't work for us right now. It might someday, but with our roster right now, we got back to what makes us good on Saturday, and that is to play great defense and to be stingy. And they got a couple quick ones in the second period there, and I probably should have called a timeout. I was thinking about it, but then I wanted to save the timeout for later because I thought really we were playing well enough to come back and make it a game. So we just got back to really having great sticks and good angles with our defensive posture. And it was a 1-1 game, and I think everybody in the rink was pretty excited, regardless of who they were cheering for. So that'll have to maintain itself going forward with our program, to play defense first. But certainly as we add players to the mix that have more offensive ability and creativity and are more prepared to play at this level, I'm excited for the future.
Well, on that, I mean, what's the roster look like? How much turnover will there be heading into next year?
It's always tough, and then when you add the transfer portal in, everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens at the end of every season in every sport. I think as we look forward, we feel like we've got a good foundation. We've got 9 players coming in who are signed, and so this will really be our first class that we were able to have a full recruiting cycle with, and we're really excited about some of the impact players that we have coming in. And so I think next year, the fact that we're adding a lot of players, and I think the fact that most of the teams in our league who were able to bring back, I call them COVID super seniors or returning Olympians, there's going to be a big difference in the rosters of every team in our league. And I think we're a team that's excited because we feel like we're really going to move forward and advance in terms of our ability to compete on the ice.
You have Misaki coming in from Andover?
Yeah, Ella's a special player. It's really fun to watch her receive that award, very well deserved. And their team, although they didn't win, I think she played in 4 straight championship games, which is quite an accomplishment, something she probably doesn't even realize how special it is as a Minnesota high school hockey player to play in the state championship 4 years in a row. So she, along with other teammates of hers and certainly other players, we're really excited about.
I was going to ask, I don't know how much you got to watch stuff going on at XL, but you have players on that Gentry team that won a state championship. You've got Riley Parks and Warren. I mean, had to be kind of an exciting weekend just thinking about the future.
Yeah, it really was. I was able to get down there for several games, and it was fun to listen to the broadcast and hear St. Thomas mentioned as often as it was. And I think it just goes to show you that we're doing the right things. Our staff has put in a ton of work, and more importantly, we've got such a great product. And by product, I mean an experience at St. Thomas, both from an on-ice and an off-ice standpoint. We're different than every team that we play because of our unique profile as a small private institution. So I think the future is really bright, and I was excited every time I heard our name, and I'm excited for the summer and certainly into next season. First, we're going to pause and take a nap and rest a little bit, but it's really gonna be exciting next year.
Can you quantify just how much further along you are today compared to this time last year?
You know, I shared with our team after the game that this year was incredibly impressive for me. Last year we had a lot of moral victories and excitement about going from Division III to Division I. And while our roster did change a little bit, you know, it didn't change as much as other schools' rosters did with transfers and returning Olympians, et cetera, and fifth year seniors. And so I thought this year was more impressive to me than what happened last year. And last year we had a few wins and a few great showings, but to be able to back that up and actually improve in every statistical category, I laid it out for our team, whether it was wins and losses or goals scored, or, you know, save percentage, or all the metrics that you kind of keep track of as a hockey coach. We were better this year. And I actually, going into this year, didn't know if we could be. And so I really give a lot of credit to our seniors, and in particular, our seniors who've been with us for 4 years, because we did have some grad transfers come in that helped stabilize some things. But those players that have been with us for 4 years realize that they're actually Division I hockey players, and they didn't realize it when they signed up to go to St. Thomas. But I think they left here feeling valued and fulfilled, and with an identity that, yeah, I'm a Division I hockey player, and that was special.
Will you get over to Ritter and watch the final face-off at all? And any prediction? I mean, who's the hot team coming in?
You know, I'll probably go over there and watch. I think the final face-off, like it is most years, has a chance to send all 4 of its representatives to the national tournament. And I don't know who's playing at a higher level. You know, when we saw Minnesota on Friday, you know, they're going to be tough to beat if they play that way. 3 weeks ago, we were at Ohio State, and I said the same thing. So, you know, you've got some unique differences in those teams in terms of style of play, in terms of where they're quote unquote star players. You know, you've got Sophie Jakes, who I think is just a remarkable, you know, defender and controls the whole game. Duluth has goaltending that's tough to beat. Wisconsin and Minnesota have so much depth and so much scoring potential that they're hard to compete with as well. So I'll just sit back and watch.
Speaking about all WCHA teams, your goalie, I think it was the second team. Just kind of nice feather in your cap for your program to get a player on one of those teams.
Really, really awesome for Saskia, and she earned it. Especially knowing that, you know, we split our goaltenders most of the year. And so she didn't get as many game opportunities as maybe some of the other candidates did. And so I thought it was really an impressive feat and a great, you know, recognition by other coaches that she deserves that. And, you know, hopefully going forward, you know, we can keep adding more players to that very prestigious, in my opinion, all conference team.
Any questions from the Zoom, Ryan?
Joel, you said at the start of last season that your goal was just compete, and you kind of said that at the start of this season. Do you think going into next year, your goals are going to change, or is that always going to be your number one goal?
That'll always be. I mentioned this before our game on Saturday to our team. I just said, you know, our goals are always to compete and play together. And as we grow and as our depth gets, you know, more and more talent added to it, then our expectations of wins and losses will change. But our goals are always going to be to compete and compete together. And so I thought we did that right up until the final minute on Saturday. So certainly, you know, you have to try to win games. And so those expectations will rise, but our goals are going to stay the same.
With your second year now in the books, and now that you've had a full season where you're entirely with the team, has there been a favorite moment from this year that you're going to remember from your second year on?
You know, I don't know if there's a favorite moment. A couple recent favorite moments. We had a couple seniors that were impactful. One, when we were on the road at Ohio State, one of our players who's graduating, who started as a Division III player, you know, just was caught up in the moment, just sitting there realizing, staring off into the distance, at Ohio Stadium, you know, what a cool opportunity she had. And I was able to spend a little time with her, and I shared this before, I was gonna take a picture, but I told her later, I said, I didn't want to take a photo of you sitting there because it was a moment and it was a memory for me that I'll cherish. And she was just appreciative of the opportunity to play, you know, Division I hockey. And then last Saturday, I shared this earlier, but you know, we had a senior block a shot up in her throat almost right at the end of the game, and she came off and she was getting kind of emotional, a little teary eyed. And I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, that was a tough shot. And she said, "It's not the shot, but that was my last shift." And you know, that's the moment that you realize it means a great deal to these young women. And so that, Ryan, that would be my favorite.
Who was the young woman?
Anna Promisberger.
Cool story. Not to give away trade secrets, but how do you approach the transfer portal? You go shopping, you wait for your phone to ring? I mean, you know, it's new territory for a lot of coaches, but, you know.
Yeah, you know, transfer portal is changing college athletics in every sport. So I don't even know how to navigate it yet. I think everybody's learning on the fly, and everybody's learning that rosters are probably going to change more than they ever have. And so as we look at the transfer portal, it's a wait and see process for us, because, you know, you have to have information of players who are available. We feel most importantly like we've got something great to offer if somebody, you know, is interested in St. Thomas, and we feel like they'd be a good fit. So it's a kind of learn on the fly, but we're excited not only to add with the transfer portal, but we're also excited to add with the traditional recruiting process as well.
You have plans for like a season-ending banquet, or?
We had a great senior banquet a couple weeks ago, where we celebrated on senior night. I've done that for a long time, coaching at the Division III, Division I level, just to give parents who travel in a chance to have come to a banquet. Oftentimes they come on senior night. So we had a great night, great afternoon celebration, and our seniors spoke, and it was remarkable to hear them reflect whether they were here for 1 year as a grad transfer or for 4 or 5 years as a traditional student. Just the impact that St. Thomas has had on them, that our hockey program has had on them, and it was a great day.
There are opportunities at other schools for coaches every year. Do you anticipate any changes on your staff, or any thoughts that way?
Yeah, I know our staff is certainly qualified, and I will always encourage them for whatever opportunities they're passionate about. I hope and pray that they don't go anywhere, because I really do believe we have one of the best coaching staffs, if not the best in the entire country. And our players would, I think, reflect that, in families who have been around our staff. Marty and Bethany, as coaches, are absolutely tier one in terms of their hockey ability, in terms of their teaching, but most importantly, their relational ability. And so like I said, I'll always encourage it, but I'm hoping that it's a quiet process in that regard.
Final questions? Any final thoughts, last press conference of the year?
Nope.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.